Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the DTM Esports Championship 2020. And well, my name is Luke Crane, and I was joined last week by a superstar commentator in Tobias Brookman, and well, an equally big a superstar this week is Connery Maddock. How you doing, buddy?
You're way too nice, Luke, but I'm ready and raring to go, and this one should be an absolutely fantastic racing event this evening. I can't wait to get it started.
Absolutely. Could not agree with you more. Of course, this is round number 2, races 3 and 4. Last week out, we were at Nürburgring, or 2 weeks ago, we were at the Nürburgring GP, which was very, very exciting indeed. But this time, we're at Zolder. So what are you expecting from here at Zolder today?
Yeah, Zolder, it's really one of those tracks where overtaking comes at a premium, but only at premium if you're not brave. Those chicanes, very slow speed, sometimes very tricky, very technical, but if you are particularly brave, you can make moves into there. Qualifying is going to be very, very important today, I feel, with the limited opportunities to try and gain track position.
Yeah, it's one of those circuits where the DRS is going to be a huge factor. It's very much a driver's circuit. But anyway, here is me again. I know, too much me, with a little voiceover that shows you about what this championship is all about.
18 sim racing drivers qualified to fight for the DTM Esports Championship, powered by MediaMarkt's title. The sim racers will compete in randomly drawn teams, which are mentored by one DTM driver or All-Star to unleash their true potential. Regularly invited guest drivers will be added each week to the drivers' field. The championship takes place at 3 race locations and ends with a grand finale. Each circuit will be announced the weekend before the race. Each race event contains 2 times 20-minute races plus 1 lap, with a 5-minute qualifying session in each. Besides the race points collected according to the DTM championship pattern, the qualifying positions for first, second and third will also get points. First getting 3, second getting 2, and third getting 1 solitary point. The points are accrued for individual drivers and team scoring. The best team and the best drivers will win an outstanding career boost program. This includes 4 fully packed days at Formula Medicine with mental and athletic training and a full medical checkup. The best driver additionally wins a trophy test and gets a chance to get their racing license. DTM Esports Championship, powered by MediaMarkt. Unleash your true potential.
2 races today then, 20 minutes plus 1 lap, of course, qualification as well. And well, from round number 1, we had 2 real standout performers. That was Maurice Lerner and Jack Keithley, and they are vying for that championship position, P number 1. But also there is a team championship here today as well, as I've just explained. And well, those teams get the opportunity to indeed have their whole sort of persona tested as a racing driver would, and that one driver could get the chance to win a trophy opportunity. So they get a test with the DTM trophy, and that's a lot of sim racers' dreams right there, Connery.
Yeah, it absolutely is. Some sim racers see this type of racing as their foot in the door when it comes to real-world racing, and for DTM to put those prizes up for grabs is going to be an absolutely fantastic opportunity for whoever finishes at the top of the standings here at the end of the season. But not only would that give them an opportunity to see if they're up to the task when it comes to the real world, it might even help them in their sim racing as well, because we're seeing that sort of sports psychology and conditioning coming to sim racing as well for those that want to compete at the top. So it's going to be a very, very valuable experience for everyone.
Yeah, you're absolutely spot on in terms of psychology coming into the world of sim racing. So yeah, let's check out then the highlights from round number 1.
The DTM Esports Championship 2020, and we are off. Jack Keithley will indeed take them down in towards turn 1. Not quite going to come off, but Nunikov will hold on to P2. Oh, there's big carnage in the background. A couple of spinners there. So drivers are going to indeed take what then. He's managed it beautifully well. And well, Jack Keithley is about to come across the line and pick up maximum points then. DTM Esports Championship 2020, and well, there's a bit of a mistake there in the background. Tobias, he's now done. He's probably outside the top 10, or close to the top 10 here. The terrible stuff, big spin there in the background as well. For turn 12, lap number 2. So maybe he did have contact between the two, and he's using the pit lane here. It's been superb here from the entire field. It's been very, very enjoyable. And oh, there you go. Ivanov is off. I think the race might be over here. So Moritz Lerner will take the checkered flag as it stands. Yuyovski's going to finish in second.
What a frantic round 1 it was. 2 races And well, we actually have Scherer, who leads the championship with his team, and Sheldon van der Linde, who also is in second position by 1 point in terms of the team standings. And neither driver had a good weekend last weekend, or a good week, let's say, because it is a Tuesday. We have these races on. So, how important is it for those two superstar drivers to really up their game today?
Yeah, well, like you said, they really, really struggled in the first round at the Nürburgring. Maybe it's just first round nerves, trying to get used to how the sim is run, because as much as we like to say how similar the sim is, it also has those differences compared to the real world as well. You don't have the G-forces on you under braking or through the corners. So that's something that they have to get used to. But I think as this season starts to evolve, we'll see some of those superstar drivers actually rise to the top as far as the finishing order is concerned. So hopefully those guys will be able to do a little bit better here today. And I'm certainly expecting to see them pull out all the stops.
Well, here is the championship order, and as it stands, Moritz Lerner then for Team Sheldon van der Linde is on 40 points. We then got Jack Keithley from Team Scherer on 39. Next up then is Jajowski for Team Glock on 36. Then we have got Michael Steven for Team Kelvin van der Linde on 31 points. Martin Stefanko is on 18. Tim Yarschel is there on 14. 12 for Leon Rudinger. We've then got Jonas Vanner on 6 points. Lucas Muller is on 4. Florian Hasser is on 4. Attila Dinia is on 1, with Leonard Krippner on 1 point as well. Emre Chian then he's the last driver with a point scored. But let's head then to our pit lane reporter, the beautiful Thomas Biener, who's with one of our drivers. Okay, not quite ready then for the interview there. Well, we are there. They're on screen right now, so they are ready to rock and roll. Here they go.
I guess I'm live, and I'm with Sheldon van der Linde. Let's have a short audio check if you can hear me, Sheldon.
Yes, radio check. Can you guys hear me?
Nice one. It works perfectly fine. Sheldon, your team is on position 2 in the team championship. You're in position 4 in the real DTM. What could go possibly better?
I mean, I could be P1 in the real championship. That's best case scenario. But no, honestly speaking, I think I just leave it to the guys in my team. Obviously, they're professional sim racers, so they know best. And I'm just pretty much a support program to them. I just try and support them where I can. I try and learn from them, of course. And I think it'll be hard for the real drivers to score some points, because I think only the top 10 scores points, and we're all in the same race, which makes it very tricky for us real life racing drivers, because the professional sim racers are like a second and a half quicker than us, which is not ideal. It takes a bit of the ego away, but it's all okay. We're having fun, so it's all good.
It's more about having fun and transmit some experience to the esports drivers. But in the end, how much experience can you give to them, or is it more like you're getting experience from them?
No, I mean, I can't really give them any experience on race room. I think they, like I said, they know it best. So I'm trying to learn where I can, obviously, and it's taking me a while. I have to say, I didn't do a lot of practice before this race because I was very busy with real life racing, but I'll try my best. And my only target is to beat my brother. So if I can beat him in the race, I'll be happy.
So that's a strategy of Sheldon van der Linde. He wants to beat his brother and support his team. Thank you very much, Sheldon.
Thank you. Catch you later.
Really cool there to hear from Sheldon there as well. And he made a really good point there because of the situation that's happening around the world, Connery. You know, with this pandemic going on, the racing season they've had has been condensed into pretty much back-to-back weeks for the DTM drivers. So to get any practice in the sim for a sim racing esports event is going to come few and far between. But to see them still performing at the level they are is actually quite mesmerizing.
Yeah, it is. You can see the reasoning. You know, you want to prioritize your life racing because that's what they do on a day-to-day basis. But like you said, for them to just sort of come into this with very little practice, to be able to fight in and amongst the best sim racing drivers is really a testament to the skill set that they have. It's good to see a little bit of sibling rivalry going on with the van der Lindes. I think, over the course of a couple of races that I've commentated with them on, there's always been that rivalry between the two of them. Hopefully it doesn't end in tears.
Sibling rivalry is the oldest of all rivalries. That is a big fact. And well, we're going to see it again today at Zolder. And well, with that being said, let's check out today's track.
DTM Esports Championship Round 2 coming up. Today we are in Zolder in Belgium. 4-kilometer track, 10 turns, but it's pretty difficult. A lot of chicanes and hard braking zones. So starting the lap, heading to turn 1, here it's difficult to find a good turn-in point. Hitting the inside curb now and use all of the track. For turn 2 it's difficult to find a good braking point as well. And now hitting the curbs again. Heading to turn 4. And this is really important because there's a straight approaching after it. Try to hit the throttle early. And here you can use DS and push to pass. Now a tight chicane. Use the curbs hard but not too hard. And try to avoid track limits. This left-hander is flat now. But the braking zone after it is really difficult. Try to not lock up and hard over the curbs again. And now be careful on throttle. But the second right-hander is flat, of course. You can really feel the aerodynamics of the DTM car here. And now hard braking zone again. Down to second. Try to not lock up again. Hit the inside curb. And now to try to get good traction out of it. Heading to the last chicane. Down to second again. Hit the curbs hard again. And now try to get a good run onto the start and finish straight. And this was one lap in Zolder, and now enjoy the show.
Great to see some action there from Tim Heinemann, currently the leader of the DTM Trophy Championship as well. And ironically, in just under 2 weeks' time, he has a chance to wrap up that championship. Zolder, again, we talked about it earlier, Connery. It is a driver's circuit. What I mean by that is DRS isn't going to be as big an effect as what you would have at somewhere like Nürburgring GP, just because there's no real long straights apart from the start-finish straight. But that in itself is pretty short. So again, we're expecting to see the people who put maybe the most time into this getting the results.
Yeah, it goes back to what I said just a couple of moments ago at the very start of the broadcast. This is going to be a very qualifying dependent track here today. Track position will be at a premium. So if you botch qualifying in some way, then my word, it's going to be pretty tough for you to work your way through the field.
Absolutely there. Well, this time I'm going to not throw Thomas under the bus. He will be ready for the interview. Again, I apologize there, Thomas, but Thomas is with one of our drivers.
And we are live with Moritz Löhner, the current leader of the championship, just by 1 point. You're missing 1 point with the team, but you're leading 1 point in the drivers' championship. What's the strategy for today?
Strategy is just get a really good qualifying, be up the top, maybe top 3 positions. I guess the pace should be there for that. So, and from a top 3 qualifying position, I can pretty much end up everywhere in the race, maybe with a win, but also maybe down the field if something bad happens. But for sure, I think it will be up to top 3, maybe a win. That's what I hope for.
Nice. Who's your biggest rival today?
I think yesterday I thought it would be Jack Keithley. He still is, but right now I see Emre Cihan and Leon Rüdinger up the top positions with a really good time. So I guess they will also fight for the win today.
Absolutely. I'm seeing the same. I was surprised by Leon Rüdinger, seeing him so far top. We will see. I give back to Olli Sittler and Luke Grain.
Well, thank you very much, Thomas. So Moritz there is not gone for his teammate Jack Keithley in terms of Williams Esports. Of course, they're not teammates in this championship, but he's gone for, and I think this is a very interesting name, Emre Cihan, who, in my opinion, pound for pound, one of the best race room drivers across all classes of car. Just seems to have a knack with the game. What would you say about someone like Emre?
Yeah, he's a very adaptable driver, and that's exactly what you mentioned. You put him in any car, he's going to find some way to get that at least inside the top 5. He didn't have the best of starts to this season, but hopefully he can get his footing here in round number 2 at Zolder and get his championship back on track, because he is certainly very, very capable to take the fight to the likes of Löhner and Keithley.
Well, there's only 6 races in total before we do indeed head to our super grand finale, whatever you want to call it. So it really needs to get the results today. With that pressure, of course, we're just going by time trials and practice times from what Moritz has just said there. Will the pressure of the races be telling on his performance today?
Well, for Lona, I don't think it will affect him in particular too much. He always struck me in races I've commentated with him as to be a very stable driver, a driver that doesn't crack under too much pressure the vast majority of time. So I think Lona will be fine. A couple of other drivers might be a little bit more sketchy when it comes to that. But, every single point is crucial here today because, like you said, it's a very, very short season. So if there's any mistake, if you have a bad day, then you don't have a lot of time to try and recover. So you need to be absolutely pitch perfect.
Yeah, well, for me, I'm going to throw out a little prediction, and I'm going to say that Yayovsky is the one to watch out for. Last week, got second twice. So he was the most consistent driver out of all of them. But you've heard enough from us. Now it's time to indeed head to qualifying. This is what we're all here for, a bit of action. So here we go. Qualifying is already underway. 8 minutes of qualification. So indeed, the first lap will be them trying to get as much tyre temperature or as much temperature into the tyres as possible. It is such a tough car to indeed get that temperature in. Normally takes a good couple of laps. We've seen this in the real life and indeed in a race room. And already you can see here Rudiger, who is indeed being given a tip from our championship leader as to be the one to watch out for today. And you can see he's maybe trying to find a gap to make an overtake and not. But he's been quite patient, as you can see them all being patient here. But with the qualifying only being 8 minutes long, it is vital they get their lap times in early, Connery.
Yeah, you don't really have that much of a buffer to be able to have a poor start to qualifying. Otherwise, they'll be absolutely panicking by the time these couple of minutes are done. There's Mirko Bortolotti there heading his way out, trying to get things done on his reconnaissance lap, trying to get those tyres up to optimal temperatures and up to optimal pressures as well. Like you said, it takes a couple of laps for these cars to do so. So I think the main aim here in the early portions of this session will be just to get a banker lap in, a lap that you can fall back on before you can actually go and really, really push in the final minutes of the session.
Yeah, could not agree with you more there. You can see that he's actually trying to get some temperature into the brakes as well. Again, Mirko Bortolotti, a.k.a. Marco Reus. Does look so much like Marco Reus in that picture, and he's about to come across the line to start his lap time here then at Zolder. Wondering how long we're going to be on board with him for, but I'm going to call it as if we're going to see a full lap here of Zolder. So you've got turn number 1 here. You need to take a nice wide entrance through here, try and open up the corner as best you possibly can. You can run out to the curb and the AstroTurf on the exit there, but it can be to your detriment as well. You can lose the car. As you come up towards turn number 2, again, you can just see here, this is going to be the story of the lap, maximizing the circuit, making sure that you are as wide on entry and you're very, very wide on exit, maximizing that speed as they come through turn number 3. The long run here, the RS is going to be used here for sure. And actually, sector 1 was purple momentarily, but no longer is purple. So green, of course, is his first lap through. Then the first chicane. We're on board of Bajtska Visser then, guest driver for BMW today. Of course, Queen Bee, she came second in the W Series last year, and also she won the W Series Esports League. What are you expecting from Bajtska today, Connery?
Well, she's an absolutely fantastic talent and, of course, is no stranger to the way things happen on the simulator here. So I'm expecting here to be particularly strong. But like I said, qualifying is so important here. One lap pace is the name of the game. And as that BMW works its way through the first sector, we'll get the first sector time up in just a couple of moments' time to see where she's standing in relation to everyone else. But there's a lot of traffic ahead of her here.
Yeah, she's gone green, so she's done her best lap time so far, but she's just about half a second off of what Moritz Lerner has produced. And talking about Lerner, he is provisionally on pole position, and he was right, because Emre Cihan is currently second. And there's Rudiger, who has gone purple through sector number 1. Through the first chicane then, he is indeed done. And now he's up towards the second chicane here. As you can see, feel the roar in the background there, a slogan for the DTMs. And then we've got this right-hander here. Again, it is absolutely flat out if you pin the apex perfectly. Again, you can run out onto the curbs there, but if you're not back on circuit quick enough, you will be on the grass. And these cars, they do not like grass, that's for certain. Up towards the right-hander here, he's just got the number 13 moving out the way. Hopefully that's not affecting him too much here. But again, he's gone green through the middle sector, but he's lost so much time that actually he's about 2.5 tenths off of Jack Keithley's time now. So Jack Keithley now moving up to pole position. And while it was between Keithley and Lerner in the championship, 1 point separating the two as it stands. And well, they are 1-2 in qualifying right now. Will Rudiger be able to? No, he will not. It's 6th position then for him. So not good enough, unfortunately, yet. And well, he should get, I would say, 2 more laps at the very least. It's one of those games, unfortunately, where when they cross the line, if the time elapses, they do not get to finish their lap times. Once the time is finished, that is you done. Moritz Lerner, though, is now going a little bit quicker here. 1.5 tenths quicker, Connery.
Yeah, and look at how close those times are in the top three. It's 3/100ths of a second separating the top three drivers at the moment. So still very much all to play for when it comes to pole position here today. Moritz Lohner, he's gotten purple in the first two sectors. He's sitting in a very nice spot to be able to go fastest, but everyone's setting really fast lap time out there at the moment, Luke. I don't know who's going to come away with this. Whoa, Keithley.
It's not going to be Jack Keithley, that's for sure. And I think he may have just held up Emery Chian there as well. But as you're right there, the top three have all put purple, sector 1, sector 2. So they're all taking purple away from each other. But Jack now, he will have one more opportunity, but the tyres may be overheated. But look at this then. Emery Chian has taken provisional pole. So it wasn't him that was held up there. It was another red car. But he's now only 200ths ahead of Moritz Lohner. So they've all got one more opportunity now. It becomes more of a super pole at this point here at the end of this qualifying session. But Lohner seems to know what he's on about here, because you can see that Chihan is currently in P1. And well, actually, Rudinger is, well, as I say that, he was P11, he's now P4. So yeah, Lohner definitely knows what he's on about, that's for sure. Yayovsky, my prediction, only in P5, but he seems to have the race pace, which is absolutely vital. Here's the replay then of Jack Keithley, as me and Connery were saying, he's on an absolute flyer, decides to spin the car. But again, Jack Keithley is one of those drivers that just does not have an off button. He is on the limit from the start of qualifying to the end of the race.
Yeah, this is basically it now for Keithley. A couple of cars ahead of him as far as traffic is concerned on this lap. I haven't seen that concern too many drivers out there so far. Moritz Lohner, green through sector 2, excuse me, purple through sector 1. So it's still a big challenge here for that provisional pole position. Lohner, he's ending his way out of turn number 9, coming down in towards the final chicane right about now. And I don't think he'll have enough time to get another lap in. It's a 1:19 lap. 1:19 has just passed on the clock. Big slide through the final corner. Has Lohner lost a lot of time as a result, though? Across the line he goes. And what position will it be? It's not a good enough improvement. He lost 8/10 in that final sector, Luke.
Yeah, he's done. It was his qualifying over. He'll be pretty happy he's on the front row of the grid here. Emery Chihan, though, the big story here is he's in for Team Bortolotti, who are currently P6 in our championship out of 6. So this is huge for their team right now. Where is Toma? He's currently in P15. Pinches is always a Hungarian, ladies and gentlemen. He finds himself down in P19. Bortolotti himself is in P18. And then we've got Romanidis. So where is Romanidis in the leaderboard right now? I cannot see him for no love nor money. Has Romanidis not got a lap time in? Or am I just being blind here? Looks like he might not be available. I'm not too sure what's going on there in terms of that. But Bortolotti's going to be happy with one of his drivers, and that will be Emery Chihan. So a 1:19.052. Didn't quite dip into the 1:18s, but that, Connery, is an unbelievable lap time.
That is absolutely incredible, but it was so close, but yet so far for Moritz Lohner. He was 2/100ths of a second slower. And I got to say, that lap at the very end he was on was looking absolutely perfect until that final sector, until that final chicane where he decided to overcommit a little bit. We could be talking about Lohner pole position if that didn't happen, but Emery Chian, it is.
Yeah, Emery Chian done a great job there. Lohner, who is currently championship leader, is in P2. So again, if he didn't feel like he was going to be able to get pole position today, he's maximized his qualification, which is fantastic to see. But we are going to be heading into the races very, very soon. But here are some messages from our partners. So here we are then, ladies and gentlemen. We're about to head into the warm-up for race number 1. And well, it is Moritz Lohner again. He's not pole position, but he is the championship leader, and he's in a great spot here in P2 on the grid. Are you expecting him to make a move really early in this race?
I mean, it would be beneficial for him too, considering how this track is usually raced. He has a decent chance coming in towards the first sector, but it might even have to be a desperate lunge down the inside of the first chicane, which is probably not the best overtaking opportunity given the quite vicious curbs on both the inside apexes there. So that might be a particularly tricky spot, not just for him, but for the entire field as they come through there on lap 1.
Yeah, this is one of those circuits where it's quite a wide entrance into turn one, but the choke point, it really narrows up very, very quickly indeed. So yeah, it's going to be fast, it's going to be frantic, and of course, with the format we have here, only 6 races before we do indeed head to the grand final. You've got to try and maximize every single race here. You can't really think about preserving your championship run at all here, but there were so many drivers there that were just getting first sector, second sector purple, but not being able to hook it up for all 3 sectors. And again, in the race, it's a whole different commodity. It's all about race pace, where drivers like Yuyovsky, for me, was not the strongest figure. Of course, didn't get the race wins last time out, but he was always there or thereabouts. You know, is that going to favor him around a circuit such as Zolder?
Yeah, you definitely don't count him out. Whether or not this track plays to his strengths or not, I am entirely unsure, but hoping for the best for him in this race. There's the qualifying order here for race number 1, and Chian Lona, the front row, Keithley in third. So there's your championship battle there, Luke. That is Lona and Keithley right next to each other. Maybe not on the grid, but in terms of positions. So that might be a big, big story to talk about.
Yeah, for sure. But Chihan, if he can get a couple of pole positions today and potentially a couple of race victories as well, then he could be in that hunt by the end of today. Let's go through the top 10 here. Let's go through the whole grid, actually. Leon Rudinger then is in P4. On the third row of the grid, it is Martin Stefanko and Lucas Muller. We've then got Erhan Yuyovsky in P7 with Florian Hasser in P8. Marco Pajic then is in 9th with Leonard Krippner in 10th. Tim Yarshall in 11th position with Jonas Vanner in 12th. Michael Steven then is in 13th with Carlo Luciano Bedin in 14th position. The next row then is Florian Toma and Mirko Bertolotti. We've then got Attila Digne, Lucas Auer, Adam Pinches and Roman Ivanov, Beitske Visser and Sheldon van der Linde. And then we've got Kelvin van der Linde and Fabio Scherer. So there's 2 Sheldons there, but I can assure you we don't have 2 Sheldons on the grid. We do have 2 van der Lindes on the grid, though. So that is a definite guaranteed fact, and it looks like they've qualified next to each other. So that is another story that's going to be happening along this week here at Zolder. I'm super excited for this, Connery. We are going to head into the warm-up session very, very shortly. But let's just talk about the van der Lindes. They are at the back of the grid. They would want to have qualified a little bit higher. And actually, let's talk about Beitske Visser, because she's come in. And again, it's not the highest qualification, but in terms of the pro drivers, she's done a standout job.
Yeah, it's an absolutely brilliant performance from Beitske. Like you said, with the other pro drivers that already have races under their belt, just getting in there in qualifying and just beating them, that is an absolutely brilliant thing to have happen. Again, like you said, it is towards the back of the grid, though, but that's where we kind of expect these pro drivers to be, at least in the early stages of the competition, when they'll start to come alive a little bit later on. But if she can keep things clean and maybe pull off a couple of passes during the race, I wouldn't say a top 15 is out of the equation here.
Let's talk about the van der Lindes then. Kelvin versus Sheldon. Who are you going to back this week? It was Kelvin that came out on top last time out, but you know, Sheldon, of course, who's off the back of a race victory in DTM just a few weeks ago. Maybe he's got something up his sleeve.
Yeah, it's always hard to choose between those two. I get the feeling in terms of sim racing, though, I always feel that Kelvin just has the edge. I'm hopefully not going to start a debate between the two, though, about this. You know how siblings can be, but I think Kelvin, just the slight edge, but it literally can go either way.
Well, he's a representative of one of the most famous and best racing teams in the world, of Team Redline. So yeah, he's got some pedigree behind him, not only in real world leading tied leader in the ADAC GT Masters, but also he has got some great sim racing credentials. But now it's time for us to head into the warm-up. Oh, looks like the warm-up's not quite ready as of yet then. So let's talk about Bortolotti. Last week out, he was someone who got a few penalties. It didn't go quite to plan for him, but he is the top of our pro drivers today. What are you expecting from him?
Yeah, I'm expecting decent things from Bortolotti here today. He's, of course, coming off the back of a very recent good result in the 24 Hours of the Nürburgring in the real world, finished second in that one. So he's coming off a little bit of a high into this now. Maybe he can carry some of that momentum into this. That's usually what we talk about in esports, when someone's had a good result, and hopefully that is a sign of things to come. But Bortolotti should do fairly well here today.
With the new DRS structure, we had basically, if it's a 20-lap race, just for an equation for you people watching at home, if you don't understand it, it's a struggle for me to understand, but I'll try and do my best here. So if there's a 20-lap race, they get 10 usages of DRS. Every single sector on the lap time, that means that they can use the DRS. It triggers the DRS every single sector, but you have to use it then all 3 times or you lose ones you do not use. We saw the Yuyovski last time out save them to the end, whereas everyone else was using them during the early stages of the race. And is that going to be a huge factor around someone like Zolder?
Yeah, I think early stages will probably be your best bet to use the DRS. It just gives you that slight edge, that slight opportunity at a track where there are typically, at least, quite few opportunities. Although I'm saying that, I wouldn't be surprised if these guys go out there now and show us some absolutely amazing and frantic action. But for the moment, I think the early race is really going to be telling here, and to get that advantage with the DRS, it would be beneficial.
Absolutely. Well, now it's time for what we're all here for. It's time for race 1 here at Zolder. So it looks like we've got 40 seconds left then of the warm-up phase here, or indeed it might be the gridding phase. I think it's the warm-up phase, and then we will indeed head into our race number 1. Pretty damn excited for this. This is going to be a really, really cool event, that's for sure. I think we're going to see the very, very best of all of our drivers today as well. So it's going to be an interesting one, that is for certain. Again, just waiting for them all here. The nerves are going to start to have kicked in for sure, and actually it is the gridding phase here, so we are ready to rock and roll. Emre Cihan then is on pole position. We have got ourselves Maurice Lerner then, who is in second spot. Jack Keithley and Rudinger in behind. We're about to go green here then for race 1 of the second round here at Zolder for the DTM Esports Championship. And well, it's an absolute flyer then for Emre Cihan. You see that Jack Keithley then trying to go around the outside here of Maurice Lerner. Lerner covers him off nicely. Rudinger's held on there. Lucas Muller has moved up 2 positions already. He's at P5. Yuyovski up from P7 up to P6 then. Yarshall's moved down. Cihan still in the lead. Keithley has made the move there on Lerner. And you can see then Rudinger trying to find a little bit of room here in the first sector. They're pulling Lucas Muller along. They're pulling Yuyovski along here. But wow, what a start from Emre Cihan. He's got pole position, but he is already in control.
And that's a start he really, really needed, of course, due to pole position starting on the basically outside of turn 1 here. It's very tricky to try and hold position if you have a sluggish start from pole, but it was the complete opposite for Cihan as he's able to get, as he tenths of a second gap already. A bit of a challenge for P2 there. Keithley still trying to hold on to Maurice Lerner as he's lost a spot on the start. A bit of frantic action for deeper in the pack, though, in the top 20s. Oh, Scherer deep down the inside, and there was a car spun around.
Yeah, that was Beitske Visser, I think, who's just spun around, unfortunately. I think it's either Beitske Visser or Lucas Auer, I'm not too sure. Again, we'll get that confirmed once indeed we go past lap number 1. It's almost 3 wide then, coming down in towards the final sector here at Zolder on lap number 1. Again, frantic action, but I tell you what, they've all kept it in check here. Emre Cihan taking full advantage then of Jack Keithley and Maurice Lerner just going side by side through every corner here at Zolder, which is absolutely fantastic to see. And we're on board with Scherer, so it was Visser. Visser was the one who made the mistake, but Fabio Scherer needing a result today. Didn't go so well here for him last week. Does lead the championship, though, in the team standings. They're on 55 points. Team Sheldon, Van der Linde is on 54. Maurice Lerner, though, just dropped off the back here of Keithley, and maybe he's thinking about just trying to be dragged along here by Keithley towards Cihan, because now the lead's only half a second.
Yeah, that might well be the plan here for Lerner. Just sit inside the slipstream, sit inside the tyre tracks of the car ahead. You do have to be careful doing that, though, because if that car ahead makes a mistake, then you're much more likely in following them into a mistake if you decide to tunnel vision like that. But Maurice Lerner will be very well aware of that. There you see him on the bottom right-hand side of your screen, focused as ever, is the German in the BMW. And it's the lone BMW inside the top 5 as well. The Audi's having a good time.
Yeah, he's not going to be too worried right now. Again, there's plenty of time, 17 minutes, 50 seconds to go. So he's going to be absolutely fine right now as it stands. Again, he is the leader of the championship, is Maurice Lerner. He's on 40 points, but Jack Keithley, who is just ahead of him right now, is on 39. As we're on board with Florian Hasse then, who's currently in P8, in behind Yuyovski. So Yuyovski's dropped down. So Yarshall has actually moved up into P6 here. P6 is now chasing down Lucas Muller. Lucas Muller has had a great year this year in terms of sim racing. He was involved in the Formula E Race From Home Challenge. We've actually got replay here of the start, and while you're talking about it's very, very difficult starting from the outside line here to indeed hold on to P1, and that is an absolute clinic of how to do it there by Emre Cihan. Jack Keithley, what a late lunge that was at the inside. Perfect bit of work there. Lerner had to leave the room, otherwise that was probably going to be curtains for both their races, but Jack Keithley doing Jack Keithley things there, just being very opportunistic there and making the move for P2.
Yeah, it was a pretty optimistic move, but it worked out for Keithley. I think you have the exact same opinion of him as I do, is he's a particularly aggressive driver, and he somehow is able to make things like that work where no one else can. So great job there for Keithley to get up into P2. He's being followed quite tightly here by Lona still, so this battle for P2 and P3 still hasn't really separated out. You've got Rudinger on the outside looking in as well in that 4th spot. But apart from that pretty frantic start, things seem to have settled down a little bit. We had a little bit of an altercation deeper in the pack with the driver of Vissa on the first lap. But you can just see on board, with Lona getting so close to the back of Keithley through 10-8.
Yeah, up then towards that final chicane here to start lap number 4. You see just closing in there, opening up the DRS, which they do indeed have many usages across this race, and it all depends whether they use them all at the start or at the end or in the middle. Again, it's a nice bit of strategy here. Tiashul then has moved up in position, like we said, on Yayovsky. There's Sheldon van der Linde, who was actually ahead of his brother then, so his objective today is to finish ahead of Kelvin. Right now, he is around about 6 positions above, so he's in P17. Kelvin's been involved in something for sure. But yeah, good to see Sheldon having a bit of fun here, but he is under some serious pressure there from Adam Pinches, the Hungarian driver, Adam Pinches, who's, again, one of those drivers, a bit like Emre Cihan. It doesn't matter what he puts his hand to within race room, he is one of the very top drivers in the world. And as I like to say within race room, there's always a Hungarian.
Yeah, it's seemingly the case with my limited stints, my limited commentaries here using the sim, but side by side down in towards the chicane there. This is behind Bortolotti, so van der Linde and Pinces deciding to fight it out into the chicane, which can be pretty sketchy. Like I said, those curbs on the inside really do bite. And looks like Pinces being able to get 2nd place. Look at that, diving down the inside further back in the picture though.
Ivanov just overtaken Sheldon.
Whoa!
Oh, Sheldon's off the circuit again. Not good here. Hopefully we're going to get a replay of that there, but they went through the chicane side by side. Ivanov then is taken a very much a Jack Keithley approach there, a very opportunistic move, whilst Sheldon was trying to recover from being overtaken initially by Adam Pinches. Unfortunately, it's not worked out well here. So now Sheldon is just ahead of Kelvin. Will have damage to the car. Once you get damage to these cars, it's so difficult to recover. Weissgewisse then, P24 as it stands, although looks like we just had Yayovsky's moved up to P6 again here. So Yarshall's made a mistake. Lucas Muller back up to P5. They're a little bit off the pace, though, of Rudinger. Rudinger's a little bit off the pace, then, of Lerner. But the front 3, then, Cihan, he settled in nicely here, hasn't he? The first lap, he got a nice little lead. But then he seemed to have made a mistake on lap 2 because he was very close to Keithley. But now he's just controlling this race.
Yeah, but he's just managing the gap at the moment. It's not going to be a problem for him in the race lead unless that about just over half a second gap looks a little bit less than it did previously. But he's in a comfortable spot right now, and I think Keithley is slightly more concerned about Luna being the car behind him rather than trying to go chase after your race leader at the moment, because Luna has been applying the pressure quite well here. You can see the picture-in-picture view of both cameras, both cars, and Luna, he's trying to make that BMW very big in the Audi's wing mirrors.
Mirko Bortolotti then, unfortunately, has got a drive-through penalty for ignoring slowdown warnings. We had this last week as well. And I'm wondering whether he's tried to go for like full-on immersion here and not have any of the warnings that show up on his HUD, because that's the 2nd week in a row. So that makes sense as to... I've seen that in my community leagues as well, where people have not served a slowdown penalty just because they've not seen it. I'll tell you what, though, Lerner is now dropping back towards Rudinger. So Rudinger, another driver that Lerner tipped to be at the front end of this grid, well, now he's gotten right up in behind him. But as you were saying there, Connery, which was a really... Oh, here we go. Here's the move up the inside. Oh, that was Fabio Scherer then. So I think Bikes had already lost the car, to be honest. She was side by side with another driver. But yeah, you were talking about, Lerner and Keithley. They're effectively battling for P1 in their own championship battle because Cihan had such a bad week 1, if that makes any sense. But ultimately, if they let Cihan go and win 2 races today, then he does become a part of this championship run. So you kind of want to keep Cihan on like a very close leash at this point.
Yeah, you can't really get complacent when it comes to things like that. Like you said, Cihan could, with a couple of good results, really toss in his hat as far as the championship fight is concerned. A little bit of action deeper in the pack, though. P17. This is Bortolotti versus Ivanov back here, both in the green and white cars, but of different manufacturers. Ivanov trying to really hound the back of the car ahead of him at the moment, but will he be gifted a passing opportunity? Looks like he's going to go down the inside at turn 8, side by side through the apex they go. Who's going to get the better traction off the corner? Oh, they rub doors off.
Yeah, Ivanov just about well, Ivanov loses out there. Oh, no, there's contact between the two. Doesn't realise he was clear. And oh, that was not pretty at all. It was a very pretty exchange, actually, from both drivers. But ultimately, the ending part there wasn't the greatest. So Bortolotti, as he comes across the line, is involved in a bit of an incident there. Again, he's got to drive through penalty that he will have to serve. Otherwise, it will indeed be a disqualification here. Unless he's already served it. I guess, no, he's P17. I don't think he would have already served it, actually, considering how far he'd be behind Ivanov and stuff like that right now. There's Carlo Luciano Bedin, then, who is currently in P19. So the leader, as it stands then, is Emery Chihan. We've then got Jack Keithley in second. Lerner just dropping off the pace ever so slightly. And talking about the championship hunt here, Chihan has only got 1 point in this championship so far, so he's 39 behind. The 3 points are going to help from qualifying. Of course, you can maximize your points through qualifying and the race. Each round's worth 28 in total. Qualifying, if you qualify P1, you get 3, 2 points if you're second, and 1 point for third. And then it's 25 points for a race victory. So, indeed, he will be chipping away at what is the championship lead, but unfortunately for him, it is P1 and P2 in P3 and P2 as it stands respectively.
Yeah, he would love to get a couple of cars between himself and Keithley and Lerner, that's for sure, because despite the good points haul, he's not really making the gap to those leaders any fewer in the championship standings, but he's just got to focus on his own race at the moment. Whatever happens to Keithley, whatever happens to Lerner, it doesn't matter. As long as he runs his own race and gets to the end, preferably in P1, then he'll call this a good race. But Jack Keithley and Lerner behind still. Again, that gap is still rather stagnant between P1 and P2. It's still about that half a second. And now Keithley and Lerner continuing to look pretty close as well. So I get the feeling we're having a bit of a calm before the storm moment. If these guys get any closer, then they'll definitely be looking for opportunities.
Yep. Absolutely. We just saw there with our live stewarding we have within this championship then that Ivanov just got a 6-second penalty for spinning Lucas Auer earlier in the race. We just had on board there with Fabio Scherer, and he's going to be super happy right now. Again, down in P20 himself, but he's got Jack Keithley, who we're on board with right now, who's currently in second position from his team. Then he's got Lucas Muller, who's currently in fifth position, and Rudinger, who's in P4. So he's got 3 drivers in the top 5. So that is looking so good for Scherer. Of course, oh, there's the spin there. There's the replay. So it was Ivanov that spun there. So I don't know why Ivanov got the penalty. Yeah, I guess, yeah, that's an interesting one there. We'd need to see it on boards there to really give a genuine opinion. We're over the halfway point of this race with 9 minutes to go. But let's just talk about the team championship as well. So Team Sheldon right now is second in this championship by 1 point. Sheldon van der Linde is down in P21 again, ahead of his brother, so he'll be happy with that. We've then got Krippner. So Krippner, what position is he in right now? P11, so he's outside the points. Lerner is currently in P3, so that's good points for Team Sheldon. And Yarshul is currently in P7, so this is a huge opportunity for Team Scherer to really extend their championship lead. But I'll tell you what, Moritz Lerner is now looking day. I think he's been saving his DRS, you know, here, Connery, because he was obviously very quick in qualification, looked really quick over the first couple of laps here, and he's sort of dropped off intentionally, in my opinion. But now you can see he's really up the chuff pipe here of his teammate Jack Keithley. I say teammates not in this championship, but they do drive for Williams.
Yeah, you can just see how tricky the chicanes here are at Zolder, especially that first one, as he got a bunch of oversteer as he hit that second curb wrong, and he was quite lucky to keep a hold of that and keep himself in contention. Look how close they are, nose to tail for P2 heading through turn 8 and turn 9. Chian has been able to extend the gap back to these guys by about 0.4 of a second on this lap, so he's looking to try and say goodbye to everyone behind him as the rest of them fight for the scraps of the podium positions.
Absolutely. Again, we're on board with Bites Kudisa coming through that chicane. We've just had a very close on board there with Moritz Lerner. Again, great to see Beitske again in another sim racing series. Here's Lerner then in behind Jack Keithley, and actually he's lost a bit of time here once again. Sheehan's going to be loving this though. In his rear view mirror, Connery, from your sim racing experience, if you're leading a race, I don't know, because me and you talk about sim racing, it's very rare that we're actually leading a race, but on the odd occasion it does happen. Seeing a couple of people in your rear view mirror battling for second position, oh man, it is just makes you smile, it makes your eyes all light up, it's beautiful. They lose so much time, which means you can just focus on you going forward.
You're absolutely rubbing your hands together if you're Chian at this point, and you're perhaps egging Luna on, just saying, go on, go for these moves, trying to make it side by side. You're just going to lose more time, and I'll be in a more comfortable spot as far as the race lead is concerned. Big oversteer moment there from Luna. He's lost a bit of time, and now Rudinger comes into the picture.
Yeah, really big mistake there. Just got on the power a little bit too early. The pressure that Keithley is able to, indeed, like it's very difficult to kind of explain in terms of pressure from a driver being in front, but that is exactly what Keithley's doing. Normally you expect the pressure to build up from behind another driver, but as it stands here, Keithley is just being flawless right now, which is forcing Lerner to indeed put more pressure on himself, try and get the power down a little bit earlier, trying to gain a bit more time, and unfortunately he just made a mistake there, and actually Rudinger is super close then as we come across the line. 6 minutes 30 seconds. We've got the rear view of Keithley in your bottom right hand corner. We've got the front view then of him. Emre Cihan has just kept everybody at arm's length at this point in this race. Like, he's never really looked like under any serious pressure, like anyone was going to genuinely make an overtake here. And again, through sector number 1, he just looks just bulletproof at this point. If this could be a double win for him this week on a Tuesday evening, that'd be phenomenal for him potentially moving forward in this championship.
That would be absolutely amazing. He's managing the gap very well, and it's one of those parts of racing that people sometimes overlook. You know, people always praise fantastic overtakes and great battles, which are praiseworthy among themselves, but to manage a race from the front is absolutely brilliant. Look at this side by side though with Yayovsky, with Rudinger. Oh, he's had a bit of a moment. Lots of contact behind, and Yayovsky's around again.
Yeah, that was a very strange one. Oh, he's done. He's out the race here. That was a very strange one there. So it was a great move. He went around the outside, a bit of contact, and it looked like he stalled the car mid-corner. Because the car, like the whole traction just locked up, all the wheels locked up, and he just spun the car around. So now that is him out of this race, and again, he's very close to the top of the championship here. He's actually third in the championship, 2 second positions this season. Well, this is going to be a DNF here, which is very unfortunate indeed. But well, it's promoted Yarshall, and it's promoted Rudinger up a position here. Hassan now 7th. Stefanko is in 8th position. We're on board then with Marko Pejic, who is in behind Digne. And well, we've got a nice little onboard here of Marko Pejic. It's very rare that the picture looks like the driver that's live. Normally their picture is from a few years ago or something, and you're like, what? That can't be the same person. But that is definitely Marko Pejic there in the picture and on your screen.
Look, I can't say anything. My profile pictures on social media is from a couple of years ago and it looks so much better then. But let's have a look at the replay then. Yayovsky, big moment into the chicane, and lots of contact with cars behind. Didn't quite get a good picture of what exactly happened in that instance for Yayovsky. But Luke, your pick, unfortunately, out at the event.
Oh, good. Yeah, thanks, mate. Cheers for throwing me under the bus. Week 1, throwing me under the bus. Love it. Yes, it looked like on the exit of the third, well, we're on the corner right now. He's run over the second part of the chicane. He's run over those yellow, what we like to call the Verstappens. He's run over them too much, and it's just unsettled the car. The car's lost complete weightlessness, and it's spun the car around. And I think instead of trying to get back on track and maybe hurt other people's races or performances, he's decided to retire. Because if he just sits there and waits, he's going to be at the back of the grid anyway. Would have been good to see him maybe fight for the last 4 or 5 minutes, but he's decided against it. So all the pressure's now on to race number 2. So talking of pressure here, Lerner is now dropped right off the back here of Keithley, and indeed Emre Cihan. I say he's dropped hugely off the back. It's only a second, but in terms of the level these drivers are at, that is an absolute lifetime. So 0.4 of a second between our 2 race leaders, as we do indeed head on to board then with Attila Digne. He's currently in P12. Can he make up a couple of positions and potentially get into the top 10? He needs to find 2 seconds and 2 overtakes here. And actually, in front of him, you can see that Krippner and Steven are actually fighting pretty closely here. So if they start losing some time here, might be an opportunity for Digne. We want to go and look at the leaders, that's for sure. That's where the action really is happening right now, with 3 minutes to go. So not too long to go in this race. Digne then closing up to... he's actually getting closed up on by Pejic. So Pejic is actually going to probably cost him a chance to fight forward here, because he wants to gain those positions as well. Martin Stefanko then, another driver very similar to Emre Cihan. One of those drivers that whatever he drives on, and I don't just mean race for him, any racing game in the world, this guy is an absolute animal. He is the epitome of the term alien. Good to see him racing in this championship, driver from the Czech Republic. Czech Republic have got a plethora of talent, actually. One of the most prominent top-tier sim racing countries, in my opinion. Of course, everyone will know who Jaroslav Honzik is. He's pretty slow, though, so we can't really count him as one of the top-tier drivers. He's terrible at sim racing. But yeah, the Czechs being represented, which is fantastic to see. The gap now 1 second in the lead right now. So Cihan, I think he saved something here for sure, because now I think he saved the tyres. That's been a big factor here, because Cihan's now put out to 1 second, managing it absolutely beautifully well.
Yeah, that's the luxury that you get in the race lead. You just can focus on other things other than cars around you trying to either get past you or you trying to get past them. He's just been able to focus on keeping those tires to the end. Of course, you get a little bit of accelerated tire wear here through the way the server was set up with race rooms. So he's been able to keep those alive and extending the gap. And Keithley at the moment still very much concerned about Lona. These guys have gotten close, but absolutely no cigar at the moment. So do you think it's going to be an absolutely humongous dive from Lona at the end of this race, or is he just going to be sitting here in P3 all the way to the check-in?
Well, they've represented different teams within this championship, but again, I'm not going to treat the audience like they're stupid watching at home. They absolutely... Well, I'll tell you what, Lerner's saved DRS. That's what he's done here. So if he's got more DRS to use on this final lap here, is it going to be the final lap? Yeah, it just about will be the final lap of the race, I believe. If he's still got more in hand here and Keithley doesn't, then it's going to be an absolute gimme for him. I think we'll find out around turn 4, up towards the first chicane here. We'll find out as to whether he's still got more DRS and whether indeed Keithley's used all of his. And if he has saved it and he's managed to keep behind Keithley like this, as comfortably as he has, I would be absolutely petrified of him in race number 2. Even off with another 6-second penalty, they took a slowdown on a racing line. That is not good. We're watching a battle here then between Yarshall and Muller. And it looks like Muller's just about hanging on here. Lerner has not closed in as much as I thought he would on Keithley, so I think he might not have what we thought he might have had there. So Rudinger, again, just in behind. And, well, he's gone through that chicane there, absolutely flying like his balls to the wall right now. He wants to try and maximise his points here. He sees two opportunities at more points in front of him, and I think he's going to probably try and take both there.
Yeah, I think...
car spinning there, sorry.
Oh, yeah, we did. Rudinger, a bit of oversteer as well. But I think at the start of this lap, Muller actually lost 4th position to Yarshall. That happened down in towards turn number 1. So that position's already been done, but can he gain it back? Some drivers think I'm going to look in towards turn 8, but not going for a dive. Oh, there's a bit of a slide, and Rudiger's through. Muller, he's lost position.
Oh, wow, that was just a mistake there. A mistake from the driver, more than anything. And, well, it's just easy pickings then. But as we come up towards the line here, I think we've got maybe one more lap, actually, as it stands here. As we come across the line, is it one more lap to go? No, that is the end of the race then. So Sheehan will win the race. Jack Keithley just about holds on then for Maurice Lerner to finish in 3rd position. Yarshall then is in 4th. Rudinger finishes in 5th position. Lucas Muller, 6th. Passer, 7th. Stefanko looks like he's just about going to finish in 8th. Then we've got Vanna in 9th. And then we've got Steven in 10th. And, well, there you go. They're all just going to pile drive into each other there. But what an interesting race there, Connery. That was superb.
Yeah, that was brilliant stuff, especially for those positions just inside the top 10. We didn't get the fight for the race lead that we perhaps wanted, but it was still a very close affair for P2 and P3. Could have certainly gone either way. It's just that Lona just didn't quite have enough of an advantage to be able to do anything about Keithley.
Well, Keithley did the hard work on that one, didn't he? Turn 2, an opportunistic move, a fantastic move, if we're going to be completely honest there. Again, the door was left open. If Lerner and Jack didn't have such a good racing relationship, of course, representing the same team in real life, I wonder whether that move might have been on against someone else. I'm wondering if Keithley was second and tried to make that move on Emre Sheehan, whether the room would have been left. But ultimately, he did try and make the move. He was successful with that move, and he held on to P2. But let's talk about Emre Sheehan. Had a terrible week 1, but I tell you what, he has come out all guns blazing for week 2.
It's absolutely brilliant for him. An absolutely amazing result. Sets himself up pretty well for the second race as well. If he's able to score maximum points here today, then, well, his championship hopes are alive. Still not entirely likely given the poor performance last time out, but he's put his best foot forward, and he's shown that he can race amongst the likes of the championship contenders here today. There's your podium up on screen for you now. Sheehan, just a great result.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, a great result for all 3 drivers, Keithley and Lerner finishing 2nd and 3rd respectively. And they've just been the consistent kings along this whole championship, and it's just not been any different today. Again, Sheehan winning is going to have hurt them a little bit, but in terms of the championship, he was 39 points behind. So it's almost, I guess, of course, if he went on to win 4 races in a row, then there's the, that's all hypothetical. But right now, they're not going to be too worried, I wouldn't say. Like, if they can finish 2nd and 3rd each race, it will come down to them two near the end of the season. So they're the 2 to really watch out for. But again, it's just a stunning performance. But we saw some incidents, we saw trials, we saw tribulations, we saw penalties, we saw absolutely all sorts here. But here are your official race results then. Emre Sheehan picks up 25 points. We've got Jack Keithley then in 2nd. Maurice Lerner finishes in 3rd spot. We then got Tim Yarshall, who finishes in 4th. And we've got Leon Rudinger is in 5th position and Lucas Muller in 6th. But if you look at the teams they represent in Chihan, Bortolotti, then we've got Jack Keithley for Scherer, Sheldon, Scherer. It's Sheldon versus Scherer moving forward in this team championship, that's for sure. We've then got Florian Hasser for team Kelvin in 7th position, Martin Stefanko for team Auer. Lucas Auer's got his first driver then in 8th position. Jonas Wanner then is in 9th position, and Michael Steven rounds out your top 10 then for team Kelvin. What about the Kelvin van der Linde versus Sheldon van der Linde? And well, he did it. Sheldon van der Linde finished, even though with that big accident out of the second chicane, he finished ahead of his brother.
Yeah, he did. So there we go. That's another little one in the little sibling battle that we have there towards the back of the grid. Here's the championship standings after that round. Jack Keithley, well, it's seeming like it has swapped around. The points margin is the same, just that single point, but Keithley on the top of the pile this time.
And Erhan Yuyovsky not finishing that race is absolutely vital. So it does become a 2-horse race really early in this championship just because of that one factor. Yuyovsky needs a big performance in race number 2 today. Michael Steven is then on 32 points, flying under the radar, to be honest, the South African. Not really had a real standout performance this championship so far, but on 32 points all the same. And there is Emre Cihan then. He's moved up from P13 on 1 point up to the top 5 with 29. And well, if he has any sort of form that he had in the previous race here, he is going to be a huge danger. Again, I'm thinking he's going to need to win 4 races because of week 1 being so bad. But someone like Emre Cihan, you can't write him off.
No, you can't. And he has to do his best possible to try and get up into those top 1 or 2 spots and hope for a little bit of outside help as far as incidents with Keithley and Lohner are concerned to make him a little bit more optimistic in the championship. He had a very mature drive here for the first race, and I expect that in the second race as well. Very strategic, saving those DRSs into the latter portions of the race, and I can't wait to see it.
Well, there you go, then, ladies and gentlemen, our 3rd different winner from the DTM Esports Championship 2020. And now, here's a message.
Boxengasse werden die letzten Vorkehrungen getroffen. Volle Konzentration bei den Piloten. Die Spannung steigt ins Unermessliche. Ein fulminanter Start! 2 Piloten liefern sich ein knallhartes Kopf-an-Kopf-Rennen. Ich glaube, mein Schwein pfeift. Sie schmeißt den Turbo an, hebt ab und fliegt als erst ins Ziel. Auf die Pole Position. Jetzt in Führung gehen mit dem besten Gaming-Equipment zu rasant günstigen Preisen. Also gib Gummi und bring dein Gaming auf ein neues Level. Online auf mediamarkt.de/DTM. Mediamarkt.
Here we are then, ladies and gentlemen. It's action time once again for the second race here at Zolder. And well, we're on board with Kelvin van der Linde, and he would have taken a huge hit to the ego getting beaten by his younger brother. That's for sure. And also, Kelvin, if you watch this back later, I chose this shirt especially for you. Yeah, and I know how much it means to you with these beautiful shirts that I wear. But Kelvin, a chance then. Again, each week they have a chance to beat each other. Rivalries between siblings, Connery. I don't know if you've got any siblings, but I got 2 brothers that are about a year younger than me, and they are twins. So they've got rivalry with each other, but I just want to beat them both into the ground at everything.
Yeah, well, I have an older brother and a younger brother, so and I'm the middle child. I don't have any sisters, so there we go. It was always a bit of a scrap between all of us, and I was unfortunately the one that was overlooked a lot of the time. So my family issues aside, we got qualifying out there, drivers on their out laps once again, and we saw a very, very competitive qualifying here. For the first race. I think we're going to see the same again here today, but whether or not we'll get to see different names at the very front, that's a different issue.
Yeah, well, Lucas Muller, he went provisionally, he was purple for the first sector, and actually he's just gone green for his best sectors. But of course, it's his first lap though, so it's not anything to be too worried about here for any of the front runners, that's for sure. But yeah, now they've got little bit more experience with the circuit. Again, these are such new cars, and they only get told the weekend before the race, Connery. Not sure if you knew about that stipulation, by the way. They only get told the weekend before the race what the track is, so they don't have very much time here, unless you're Jack Keithley, who manages to put about 15,000 laps in. And that's not even an overstatement. That is legitimately how many laps he puts in. It's crazy. So yeah, is now they've got a race under their belts. They've raced side by side. They've done a qualifying session. Is that going to be a factor in maybe having a different outcome to race number 2?
It might well be, but I think, you know, even though there's been limited preparation for this, a lot of the very fast sim racing drivers will have already, like you said, put in hours upon hours, laps upon laps into this car track combo. So I don't think there's going to be too much fluctuation session to session, but there could always be that big surprise. Maybe a name from the top 10 just getting themselves inside the front row, for example, would be a big story. But we've got a couple of provisional times coming in at the moment. Moritz Lohner, provisional pole position at the moment. Muller with a good lap time here early on, up into second place, separating the two big championship contenders for the moment. And Rudinger, good lap time. Once again, he goes provisional pole.
Well, we'll look at the rankings there in the championship. 22 points each for Leon Rudinger and Martin Stefanko. And Rudinger is doing a sensational job right now of indeed giving him the best opportunity in the race to gain more points. But it is that man again, the Turkish driver, Emre Cihan, who's around about 0.2 of a second off of his qualifying time from the previous race. He's done a 1:19.250. And this, if he does want to have a run at the championship, because of course, again, I hate to say it, had a terrible week 1. But if he does want to have a run at the championship, having Rudinger and Lucas Muller between him and Lerner and Jack Keithley down at P8, this is an opportunity here if the qualifying stays like this.
Yeah, he needs as many cars between him and Lohner and Keithley. That is the task here for Cihan, and obviously he doesn't have any influence over it. He only has to run his own race at the front, but it's all about the order behind him, which kind of decides his fate in this championship. I'm amazed we're already talking about this early on, but it is what it is.
We're at the halfway point.
Yeah,
we're already past the halfway point of the main season before the super final. So it's kind of, we have to. It's crazy. Like, it's so frantic, and it's the beauty of this championship. But we're talking about Rudinger and Stefanko both on 22 points. There's 0.004 of a second between them in qualifying. They're second and third. So you cannot separate them, whether it be qualifying, the race, the championship. This is fantastic. But more importantly for Emre Cihan, he's now got an extra driver between him and Lerner. So Lerner is in P5 as it stands. Second in the championship now is Lerner by 1 point. But indeed, where is... well, Jack Keithley only P13. Ooh. So and he's gone grey through the first sector here. He's only got 2 minutes to indeed get that lap time. So this is going to be, well, it's going to be huge. Yoyoski up to P2 then. So there's now 4 drivers between Lerner and Cihan, although Lerner has just gone, well, Tim Yarshall's got pole at 1:19.2, but Lerner is gone purple through the first sector. Tim Yarshall has just put it onto pole position, and wow, we're talking about them having a little bit more experience. We might see a little bit of a different result. We are absolutely seeing that.
Yeah, absolutely. Shows how much I know. I didn't think it was going to change that much coming into this qualifying session, but some drivers really taking that as a challenge. Like you said, Lerner, purple through Sector 1, green through Sector 2. He still has a chance here to get himself inside the front row. There's Emre Cihan, who's had a decent Sector 2. He went faster by only 0.007 of a second, but purple is purple, and it's where Sector 3...
That's overall. So he's gained 0.06 as well. He is quickest through the first 2 sectors. Across the line, here he goes. And will that be pole? It will be. Oh, 1:18.930. We've seen our first 1:18. What a time that is. But Martin Stefanko's not done here. He's got purple through sector number 1. So can the Czech driver then produce the upset of the day? And sector 2, he's 4.5 tenths down. So it's not quite gonna be able, it's not gonna do anything too much here. Lerner, out the death of qualifying, is put up onto the front row of the grid. But more importantly for Lerner, he's got 2 cars between him. Yarshall and Rudinger are behind Jack Keithley. We know what Jack Keithley's like. He will try and make opportunities on a race circuit if they do not present themselves for overtakes. This is gonna be an absolute cracker. Emre Cihan, for the second race in a row, Connery, is gonna take the 3 points and pole position.
Yep, once again, getting those points in the bag, and it's by a bigger margin this time around compared to his competitors. And Moritz Lohner, once again, in second place, but he can't afford to lose that on the start like he did last time. Yarshall, though, fantastic qualifying from him to put that BMW up into third place on the starting grid. So I'm very interested to see what he can do. But I think the main story here in qualifying is Keithley. Not the greatest of performances. He's going to have to claw his way back through the field, and that is where Keithley really comes into his own.
Yeah, I completely agree with you there. Like, I think he is genuinely at his best when he has got backs against the wall. He leads a championship. He doesn't want to win races this way. He doesn't want to be able to get performances by having to go through the pack. But again, he's just one of those drivers just seems to, when the pressure really is on, you can count on him. I guess you could say that for the majority of the top level sim races, but he just has, I don't know, he has that credential where he's just able to scratch and claw for things. Like, he's never beaten, if that makes sense.
It doesn't feel like he has any fear when it comes to races like this. He's going to put that car down the inside, no matter if you like it or not. He's going to try and wrestle the lines away from you, wrestle the positions away. So I'd be very interested to see how he does his race. I think our director probably should just keep the cameras on him throughout the entire race to see how well he does. But there's your starting grid.
Emre Cihan then will take pole position for race number 2. 3 points for him added to his championship total. Moritz Lerner will gain 2 points then for second. And then we've got Jack Keithley, who is in third and will get the 1 point. There's another story here. Leon Rudinger and Martin Stefanko, seventh and eighth in the championship, both on 22 points. They are fourth and fifth position, respectively. Lucas Muller then in sixth position. Erhan Yayovsky, of course, who DNF'd in race number 1. He's still third in the championship. He needs a big result here today. Florian Hasse then is in eighth position. Marco Pajic in ninth. We've then got Leonard Krippner in 10th. Tim Yarshall in 11th. Jonas Vanner in 12th. And then we've got Michael Steven, Carlo Luciano Bedin, Florian Toma, Mirko Bortolotti, Attila Digne, Lucas Auer, Adam Pinches, Roman Ivanov, Beitske Visser, Kelvin van der Linde, who's ahead of Sheldon van der Linde. So that could be a 1-1 for the end of the day if it finishes like that in the race. And then at the back of the grid, then it is Fabio Scherer. But it is Emre Cihan again, who has been the dominant figure. And well, he's going to get the big 3 points.
Yeah, absolutely. So I can't wait to get this one started. It's we've really set the stage here. That qualifying was incredibly interesting. And if the race is as dramatic, then I'll certainly be very happy.
Yeah, like this is the best. This is the easiest part of the job. When qualifying is like that, hopefully the race is going to be very similar to race number 1. It's just easy, like, to commentate on it. It gets everyone excited. And I'm very much looking forward to seeing what we will have in race number 2. But let's go and check a few messages from our partners.
In der Boxengasse werden die letzten Vorkehrungen getroffen. Volle Konzentration bei den Piloten. Die Spannung steigt ins Unermessliche. Ein fulminanter Start! 2 Piloten liefern sich ein knallhartes Kopf-an-Kopf-Rennen. Ich glaube, mein Schwein pfeift. Sie schmeißt den Turbo an, hebt ab und fliegt als erst ins Ziel. Auf die Pole Position. Jetzt in Führung gehen mit dem besten Gaming-Equipment zu rasant günstigen Preisen. Also gib Gummi und bring dein Gaming auf ein neues Level. Online auf mediamarkt.de/DTM. Mediamarkt.
Well, we're about to head into race number 2. It's going to be super exciting. I'm pretty sure of that. Again, we have got, for me, at Zolder, I should say, there's probably 7 or 8 drivers that are capable of winning this race. That is for certain. But can anyone beat Emre Cihan? It was, of course, Lerner that predicted him. I would have always said that Cihan could be there or thereabouts. This race room, like, this guy's an absolute monster on this game. But yeah, is he going to be beatable today? Because he's been just so dominant.
Yeah, it doesn't look like anyone really has the caliber to be able to really pip him to position at the moment. He had a very mature drive in race number 1, managing the gap, didn't really feel the pressure at all. That car was one of the more stable cars that I saw out there on circuit. It was absolutely amazing. And if he's able to convert that performance here into race 2, then he could take home maximum points.
Yeah, I cannot wait to find out indeed what happens here. I think, again, another big story is we've had a championship lead change in terms of the individual championship. It was between Lerner and Keithley. Lerner was leading by 1 point coming into today's racing. And while Keithley has taken advantage here with the performance by finishing second in race number 1 today. So now he leads the championship by 1 point. But there's 2 drivers between Lerner and Keithley. So now we're going to head to the race then, ladies and gentlemen. And well, here is the grid. You can see there Sheehan and Lerner on the front row with Jack Keithley and Rudinger on your second row. We've got Martin Stefanko and Lucas Muller on your third row. Erhan Yayovsky and Florian Hasser then on the fourth row. Marko Pajic and Leonard Kripner are on row number 5. Tim Yarshall and Jonas Vanner, row number 6. Row 7 then for Michael Stephen and Carlo Luciano Bedin. And then we've got in 15th and 16th, Florian Toma and Mirko Bortolotti. 17th and 18th then are Attila Dinier and Lucas Aller. On row number 10 is Adam Pinches and Roman Ivanov. Row number 11 is Bijtske Visser and Kelvin van der Linde, ahead of his brother Sheldon van der Linde and Fabio Scherer in 23rd and 24th positions. This is going to be super, super exciting here. They got 1 minute left of practice. And well, I did a prediction for race number 1. I predicted that Erhan Yayovsky would DNF. I didn't predict him to win at all. So give me your prediction here, Connery.
The easy route would be to say Sheehan holds on, but I kind of believe in Lerner. I just kind of want to say, just to be a little different, to not go for the incredibly obvious option. I think Lerner might be able to get him this time around.
Yeah, do you know, I like that. I really respect you for that. That's a really quite... Yeah, to go out the box there just shows your credentials. I'm going to go for Sheehan holds on. Right, good stuff. But yeah, I'm not going outside the box for this one. I think Sheehan's got it today. I think Zolder just seems to click with him nicely. Again, the car was so new when we did the first rounds of this a couple of weeks ago. So he would have had a lot more time to get used to the car. He wouldn't have known the track, but he would have had a lot more time to get used to the car. So I think Sheehan for me will be the one to watch out for. So we've got ourselves 5 seconds remaining here before they do indeed have 60 seconds to grid up for race number 2. Oh, I cannot wait for this. If it's as good as race number 1, I think it's going to be better. I think these drivers, it was last time out at the Nürburgring, everybody just left everything on the table. And that's another thing here, Connery. It's an esports event, the top level. You're racing against the best drivers in the world right now within this car, within this game. You know, you do not want to be, 3 hours after this broadcast today and go, oh, there was so much more I could have given.
Yeah, you don't want any regrets when it comes to races like this. You are, like you said, racing at the very top level of competition. You need to go 100% every single lap here. The start is going to be crucial once again. Lerner, he can't afford to have what happened in race 1 happen here again with that sluggish start. He needs to absolutely nail it and challenge Sheehan in towards turn number 1. I think that might be one of his only chances.
Yeah, I completely agree with you there. I'm excited for this. Yeah, no regrets with an A, for sure. Here we go then. Onto the grid here. And it is Emre Sheehan who is on pole position. And we're about to go green then. 24 drivers, race number 4 of the championship for round 2 here at Zolder of the DTM Esports Championship 2020. And Sheehan's got a wonderful start here. Very, very good start indeed. And as we come up towards turn number 1, is Lerner going to be able to hold on to P2? He has just about there, so Yarshall will be in P3. Keithley already ahead of Rudinger. So Rudiger's lost out here. Keithley doing what he did in race number 1, where he makes up 1 position. He is going to be in danger. Oh, Sheehan with a big snake there out of turn 2. Lots of snap oversteer, and actually just about manages to save it and still holds on to the lead. That is quite incredible here, but look how close Lerner is. I think Lerner is going to make a move here as soon as he possibly can, although he's got to defend from behind of Tim Yarshall.
Oh, yeah, you could just see he was caught in 2 minds. You saw the movement behind. There's been a bit of a smash at the very back of the field there. A couple of drivers involved. Bortolotti, I believe, was the main victim of that one at the very back of the field there. But apart from that, everyone else has been a clean start once again as they head their way in towards the middle sector. We're seeing the about P10, Kripner versus Hasser on screen at the moment as everyone just tries to find them.
This is the vital stage of the race here. Sheehan knows it. He's been there. He's done it. He's done it already today. We're on board then with Dinier, who's trying to make a move around the outside here. Is he going to just about be able to hold on? No, he's not. It's actually Stephen who's going to make the move up the inside. So Stephen, again, flying under the radar in the top 5 in the championship. But, well, he's not going to be scoring any points as it stands here. So showing off his skills. Dinier there. Look how... To be young again. God, makes me sick. He was probably born in the 2000s. So that's horrendous to hear. Anyway, across the line they come. Emre Sheehan again knows how important lap number 1 is. He's now half a second in advantage. Big spin there in the background. Looks like that might have been, I don't know, was that Lucas Auer maybe? Was that Sheldon van der Linde? It might be Sheldon van der Linde actually. Or was it Scherer? Could have been, I think that might have been Fabio Scherer actually. But yeah, Sheehan leads by 0.4 of a second. We're on board with Marko Pajic. Again, action all the way through the pack here. That's what we've come to expect. Tim Yarshall then is in 3rd position. Jack Keithley then is in 4th spot and around about 6/10 of a second behind. Although he is using DRS very early here. And well, did Keithley have a little nibble there? No, he didn't. We're on board with Lucas Muller. So he was definitely involved in something earlier on in this race to be down at P17. So not a good start for him at all right now. In behind Pajic, you've got to be very patient here. Again, you can't use too much curb through here as well, trying to make overtakes, because you lose a lot of downforce just because of the dirty air in front of you. And indeed, you lose all load on the front of the car. And we saw that happen to Yuyovski earlier as well when he was trying to make an overtake. So you've got to be very, very careful. Again, really second 1 and second 2 are the big overtaking opportunities there. Muller trying to push his way forward there. A little bit of an official push to pass there. Not the button at all there. Sheehan now only 0.3 ahead of Lerner. So Lerner is, well, Lerner's got DRS open. He's closing right in here on the leader. So hopefully we get to look at the leaders here. So I think Lerner, yeah, well, there you go, right at the front there. Lerner nearly made a move. So he's definitely trying to make it happen as early as he possibly can. We're on board then with Leonard Krippner. And well, there are battles happening all over the circuit right now. Here we go, Lerner making the move through turn 2 up the inside. He's got the inside line then towards turn 3. How committed can Sheehan be? Oh, he's going to pin him onto the apex here. He can run wide onto the curb, and I'll tell you what, that is a hell of a defensive move there by Sheehan.
This is a big effort. Lerner's going to look into the chicane. No, he's just going to duck back in line there. But oh my word, what a titanic battle there through the first couple of corners. Sheehan, he was firm, but he was fair. It was quite a daring move, but it seems like you do have to get the elbows out here to keep Lerner behind. But that was Lerner's first opportunity across the 2 races that we've had here today, and he's really turning up the wick now. He's got a bit of a buffer back to 3rd place as well. It's such a boon to the psychological state there for Lerner that he doesn't always have to be looking in his wing mirrors and seeing where Yarshall is. He can keep his eyes forward and focus on that car ahead. Here we go again.
DRS wide open then up towards the final chicane here on lap number 3. And now he's going to try and pin Sheehan onto the apex. Sheehan responds there, reciprocates beautifully well. Now the door's open for Tim Yarshall. So Yarshall just in behind here. They go 2 wide behind. Emre Sheehan's going to be loving this again. Lerner was very aggressive on the entry, and Sheehan responded by being aggressive on the exit there of the chicane. They'll both be smiling like Cheshire Cats at this point. This is why we all do sim racing. Of course, winning and getting podiums is what we're in the game for, of course, but rubbing side by side with another driver, clean, like that, at the top level, leaving nothing on the table. That is why we do this. But Sheehan still holds on to the lead. And actually, even with Lerner making that mistake there, and Yarshall giving a little bit of an opportunity, he's actually been able to pull away once again. Bijskevissa, we're watching now with in P17. In behind them is Kelvin van der Linde and Toma. So Toma in 19th, trying to make a move here on Kelvin. Kelvin then in at number 33, running down in towards then the first chicane here at Zolder. Loads of curb being taken there. And actually, that's what we're seeing here, Connery. Every single driver just seems a little bit more comfortable around this circuit and they're taking a few more chances.
Yeah, I think so. You've got those nerves calmed after the first race. You know exactly how these races go now, so you can look for a couple of more opportunities here and there. Look at that, side-by-side, Ivanov and Hasser, I believe that is. Oh, it's an instant ahead of them. I think that might be Pincez that had a bit of a problem. There's further contact.
It's Rudinger. Oh, so Rudiger's dropped down the order here. He's now going to move down into P14. Pajic makes a move here as well. And yeah, that's the trouble. With the pack being as close as they are, Connery, one little mistake, you lose 3 or 4 spots.
Yeah, you can see they're just all in one big train once again. You can see a little move to the inside further up the field there, up in towards turn number 1. So we are seeing a little bit more action here in race 2 than we saw in race 1. It's absolutely fantastic to see. And Stephen trying to fend off Pajic here as he had a little bit of an aggressive move towards the inside. But back to your leaders then. It's a leading pack of 4 cars. Sheehan, Lerner, Yarshall, Keithley in that order, and a big gap between the rest of them and the rest of the field.
Lerner's got to be careful here, and yeah, pardon the pun, but he's got to learn from Keithley in race number 1. He's got to try and manage his tyres here, because trying to make overtakes, taking different lines, being on the extremities of the tyre wall, you're gonna learn the hard way that in the last 5 minutes you're going to be under attack. We saw that from Lerner on Keithley earlier. Luckily, Keithley was able to hang on, and it's kind of at this point you got to think it's Emre Sheehan. He was 39 points behind us at the start of the day. is it worth just thinking, let's manage P2 right now, make sure if he makes a mistake, I'll gladly take P1, but at this point, let's just make sure that we're P2. We've got to drive it in between me and my championship rival, as it stands, Jack Keithley, and really force Keithley to be able to make the move here. So if Lerner can get into the lead of this race, I think Keithley has to go for it, but I think Lerner and Keithley right now, they're in a good position where they can probably come away from today. I think they've had a pretty good week.
Every time I see Lerner's face cam, I just see how is he not sweating buckets? He's just so cool, calm, and collected. A little bit of fighting back in the pack though. Leon Rudinger around the outside of PH for P13, and it's caused a bit of a chain reaction behind as well. Muller, Dina also involved in this one as well. There's Dina, as he was involved in that altercation there. A bit of a huge cluster, a huge swap around there deep in the pack.
Yeah, just to go back to your why he doesn't sweat. Have you ever seen a German racing driver sweat?
Oh, here we go.
They don't. It's genetically impossible for a German racing driver to sweat. They are the coolest, calmest people in the planet. So yeah, as you can see here, Lerner trying to make a move then. Oh, big mistake there by Chihan. Chihan again stepping the rear out here. And actually he's on the extremities of the tyres as it stands. Lerner then in that slipstream as they come up towards this very, just over 90-degree right-hander. You see he's pinning Chihan onto the apex. He was trying to take a leaf out of Chihan's book. And well, Emre left the room and he just about holds onto the position, but look at Yarshall. Yarshall just in behind then, in a very similar looking car then. We've got the 86 and the number 18, and I think Lerner's got him. Lerner's got the inside line through the final corner, and I think that curb might have killed him. Yarshall for the lead. The Yarshall's going to take P2. Will he get the lead of this race? And now Jack Keithley's trying to get involved here as well. Keithley's going to overtake Lerner. So Lerner's going to go from P2 all the way down to P4, and look at this, Yarshall's got it. One little mistake then from our two leaders, and Tim Yarshall's like, thank you very much, lovely jubbly, I'll take the lead of the race.
That is absolutely stellar there from Yarshall. What an opportunistic move to get those passes done. They're still fighting though between Keithley and Lerner a little bit deeper in the pack there, P3, P4. You can see on the rear view cam there, but my word, Yarshall, what a time to step up to the plate.
That was so difficult to do though, because you know he had such an acute exit through the final corner there, so getting on the power, laying that power down was near on impossible. Managed to do so, and then he just got on the brakes very, very late round the outside through turn one. For me, that is move of the championship so far. That is so difficult to do in these cars, such high torque, to be able to get the power down like that, making a move when the cars have opened up the corner a lot better to you on your outside. Superb stuff there by Tim Yarshall, and that move could well bring in a victory here. We could have our actual fourth different winner in 4 different races. But I tell you, there's one guy that isn't going to let that happen. That is Emre Chihan. He's going to be absolutely furious that that's just happened there. Again, it was all because of him and Lerner just being so aggressive with each other. Again, it was super fair racing. It wasn't like either of them have hit each other off circuit or anything. They were just like so content racing each other that they lost each other so much time that Yarshall's just been given his birthday and Christmas presents all on one day.
Yeah, it certainly feels like that, and he's actually continuing to extend the gap at the moment, back up to 6.5 tenths of a second. The problem here for Chihan, though, is now it's a bit of a change of tack as far as this race goes, because for this entire event, he's been the driver that's been trying to maintain the gap and keep cars behind him. Now he has to switch and get into attack mode. Look at that, 3 wide off the final corner, and Yarshall, what an opportunistic pass here. Perfect place, perfect time, driving around the outside at turn 1, which is not the easiest thing to do. That is just brilliant.
Yeah, so what happened there, Yarshall obviously took his opportunity as best he could. But if you looked at it very closely there, Lerner just hit one of the sausage curbs on the inside, which has sent him out wide, and also there was contact with Chihan. Minimal, don't get me wrong, it was not anything that would be taken on by the stewards, it was just superb racing. But that curb shot him across the circuit ever so slightly, enough, and I mean by hundredths of a second, like nothing more than that, enough for someone like Yarshall to take full advantage. Again, you look at all of these drivers, all 24 drivers here are at a peak top level. Regardless of what their position are right now in this race, they're in a different time zone to what we're capable of doing. So yeah, just 100th of a second is a huge opportunity for these drivers.
Yeah, Pitch having a look here and there over Ivanov. Heading their way. Oh, it just goes a bit wide out of the final corner. Not exactly ideal, but back to your race leaders though. P1 through 3, Yarshall, Chihan, Keithley, and now Yarshall, he's been after being gifted those positions a little bit earlier on, can he hold on to the race lead? There's a little bit of a replay of the incident that we had early on with Rudinger going off the circuit, I believe that was. That was a good couple of laps ago now, and he still tries to continue on his recovery drive down in P12 at the moment, but he's quite far off the back of Steven ahead of him.
Yeah, absolutely. Just action all over the place right now. It's superb stuff here. And I've got a prediction here that Lerner is saving his DRS for the final couple of laps. He did this on race number 1. I'll tell you what, Emre Cihan is going to try and make a move here around the outside, then through the right-hander into the final sector, and he's actually lost a load of time here. Where's Keithley? Where is Keithley? No, Keithley not quite close enough. I don't know where it is. Yeah, it's not close. What, 0.2 of a second? I think Keithley might be able to go side by side here up and towards the final chicane. He's not going to be able to do so. Cihan runs a little bit wide here. Again, we're watching Yarshall, who's in front here, but I want to know where Keithley is in all of this. There he is. He's right up in behind him in that purple, white, and yellow car, and he's going to go for it here. Late lunge up the inside, potentially. No, not quite close enough. Lerner, though, being gifted a bit of an opportunity here to close in. So if he has been saving DRS, he is going to be a big factor near the end of this race. Yarshall, take a bow. Again, he's been given the gifts, hasn't he? He's been given the presents, as we said. But you've got to be able to open those presents, and you've got to be able to appreciate those presents. He is doing both very well right now.
Yeah, it's absolutely brilliant so far from that leading BMW. Look at that, though, defensive to the inside. Keithley, Lerner, long way around at the first apex, can't quite get anything done. Tries to get the run through the corner, almost has an overlap on the exit. He's almost right up the rear bumper of Keithley there, coming up in towards that turn 7 complex right now. And Lerner still not able to work his way by, but look at the amount of pressure he's applying to Keithley's rear end at the moment. It's absolutely exemplary, but still, Lerner in 4th place, not the 3rd that he desires.
No, absolutely not. And again, you see they've lost time to the leaders, which Emre Cihan's going to be loving life right now because he's been looking in his rearview mirror. He's not been able to really go and attack Tim Yarshall since Yarshall's taken the lead. But now he's got a bit of freedom here, and this is where Cihan will indeed showcase his skills. Big mistake there by Yarshall, actually. The rear really did step out, although, he settled it down really nicely. All of a sudden now, we've got Yayovsky involved here. But at this point, if you're battling side by side, you just got to keep the car between the mayo and the mustard. Make sure you get the car to the end at this point and not make any serious mistakes. Yayovsky, again, P5 right now, and he is looking very dangerous indeed.
Yeah, he really is. You saw Cihan actually use DRS down the pit straight that last time around, of course. You still got to be very strategic about when and where you use those use those DRS activations, shall we say. But you can see there's a bit of separation in the mid-pack now. Yayovsky definitely inside the picture this time around, and Yayovsky looking to the inside on Lerner, going to duck back in line. He's just showing the nose. He's letting Lerner know he's there.
Well, here is the replay of the start. There's Cihan had a beautiful start here, even better so than this first race. But you can see then in the background, Yarshall had a just equally as good start, stayed in P3, but it was indeed Keithley. Started P5, moved up to P4 straight away. Did that on race number 1. Now we're aboard Pajic again. Pajic not been fighting for the front of the order, that's for sure, but he has been involved in some awesome battling today, and he'll want to get P14. I think in the first race he managed to get up to P12. Adam Pinches, by the way, big respect to him right now. He's currently P8 as it stands. Stefanko and Rudinger, those two were battling for position in the championship right now. Stefanko, P7. Looks like he will indeed take the lead on those two battling for points. But here we go. We're on board then with Marco Pajic once again. Again, looks exactly identical to his picture. And again, you guys at home might be going, "No, that's obviously it's him." But that's just not how it works in esports. Normally their picture's about 10 years old. Yayovsky and Vanna are battling for position, by the way. Rudinger and Steven, they've just swapped positions. Yayovsky and Vanna are going toe-to-toe. We've got battles all over the circuit right now. Cihan now 6/10 behind. Again, Yarshall and Cihan have gapped Keithley and Lerner. 4 minutes, 40 seconds ago. This race has absolutely flown by. Oh, Pajic there with a big error. Steps the rear out. There's Pinches as well. Again, there's always a Hungarian, and well, it's always Pinches at this point within this DTM championship. And wow, there's just all sorts of things happening right now, Connor. This is crazy.
Yeah, absolutely. It's pretty enthralling to watch as well. Pinches trying to make some action of his own back in the 8th spot. Looking further back, you got P11, P12. There's the battle for the race lead then. Cihan around the outside. Can he make this one work? He just has to stay in line for now, but can he get the run off the corner? Both cars looking pretty squirrely coming through the final sector.
I love that from Yarshall. Yarshall has just played an absolute blinder there in terms of defense, although Cihan, yeah, again, it's not quite close enough there. If you just saw Yarshall into the braking zone, he just made a slight move left. It still left the car's width there, but Cihan would have had to have panicked and reacted, which means he can't turn the car in at the point he would want to have turned the car in, which means he can't get the power early enough, and he's thinking about other things other than making an overtake. Very clever by Yarshall there, and well, actually, he's now got a 0.6 of a second lead. Jack Keithley, Lerner, again, around about 1.3 seconds away from this lead battle, but have they saved anything? I think Lerner might have saved something. I'm not too sure whether Keithley has. The lead, though, I think Yarshall's going to be in very good shape. We've still got loads of cars in behind, so if there's some incidents in P1, P2 battle, P3, P4 battle, there's loads of drivers here and behind them that would love to take full advantage. Yovsky, by the way, has dropped 2 positions now. So Vanna and Stefanko have both gained the spot. And we saw this in race number 1, the last sort of 5 minutes. He struggled. I'm wondering whether he really is struggling with tyre wear.
Yeah, Lerner still in this battle though with P3, and yeah, this is really the point in the race where the tyre wear does become a factor. The final couple of laps, can you just hold on to those old tyres? Looks like these leaders are doing relatively well at the moment. It's just 2 battle pairs. It's battle for P1-2 and battle for P3-4 here at the very tip top of the field. No opportunities this time coming towards the end of the lap for Lerner, but we kind of just have to have each of our eyes looking at 2 different battles right now, because that's the situation.
Luckily, we've got 2 eyes, though, so that's easy to do. So don't worry about it. It's fine. Looks like Stefanko and Vanna are having a battle here as well as they come through the final couple of corners. We're on board there with Attila Dinya. 0.4 of a second, though, is the lead. So Chihan, what has he saved? I think we potentially may have 2 more laps after this one. So, again, I will get confirmation as they cross the line the next time as to whether they will be indeed doing another lap. But here we go then. So we're watching Yovsky there, just doing a little fake there, trying to force a mistake from the driver in front. And actually, Chihan's dropped off the pace here. So now 0.7 of a second. So Yarshall must be using his push to pass and saving those. Jack Keithley and Lerner, 0.2 of a second between them. Yovsky, P7. So this is the battle we want to be watching right now. This is for the championship lead, ladies and gentlemen. Keithley is currently in the lead by 1 point. And, well, if indeed Lerner can get ahead here, he would retake the championship lead by, I would believe, either 1 or 2 points. So it'd be very close. In terms of qualifying, actually, it might be 3 points. But we head then towards the just over 90-degree right-hander. Keithley on the power nice and early. Seeing the Constantina effect there in full swing. But actually, Lerner has got on the power very early, and he has saved some DRS here. He's going to be forced to go the long way round here. How good are you on the brakes there, Maurice Lerner? Are you going to force Keithley into a mistake? A little bit of well, Rubbin's racing there for sure. And actually, Keithley just about hangs on. So as they cross the line here, this is going to be the final lap of today's race for sure. And, well, it is between Lerner and Keithley here. Connery, who's going to get that top podium?
Oh, it's all up for grabs at the moment, isn't it? Keithley's been looking very strong in terms of the defense in that Audi, trying to fend off the BMW of Lerner. But coming through the first sector, Lerner is going to have to try his best to try and edge out this gap. Yovsky trying to fight for P6 in the background as well. That's with Stefanko just ahead of him. So that's where positions might change a little bit and the point order might be shuffled just that little bit. But on the final lap of the race, I think Yarshall is safe, but it's not over until the fat lady sings, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, it's definitely not over for P3. I think that is a given here. Maurice Lerner is giving absolutely everything. Has he saved 1 more DRS usage in towards that final chicane? We will find out very, very shortly. And I tell you what, he is on the limit here. Runs out a little bit wider than Keithley. Keithley on the brakes nicely here. And again, well, they are pretty close. I don't think it's quite close enough here. Emre Can, again, you can see he's trying to lay that power down as early as he possibly can. And I think Keithley may be okay here as well. So Keithley just able to pull away here and towards the final corner. This is where the nerves can get the better of you. But I tell you what, the move of the championship so far is going to give Tim Yarshall the race victory. And I tell you what, that cannot be understated. That was a hell of a move to win a race, that's for sure. Took full advantage of Maurice Lerner and Emre Can. But it's not like he then just defended for the rest of the race. He dominated the race. He managed to hold that advantage until the end and pick up the big points. So congratulations to Tim Yarshall. Chihan in second, a P1 and the P2 for the week. He's going to be absolutely buzzing. We're on board with Fabio Scherer then, who's currently in P19. Actually, he will be the last of our finishers, I think. Bajs Gavissa, who's going to be in P18. Sheldon van der Linde in P23. So Kelvin is going to finish ahead of his brother. So they're one each at this point of the day. So yeah, absolutely fantastic stuff there. And well, let's head over to Thomas with one of our drivers. Well, let's talk about the race then. So again, Thomas not quite ready for us But what a that's so frantic. So that's just the easiest job in the world when you have races like that, right, Connery?
Yeah, absolutely. It does make our job very easy. We just talk about the brilliant side-by-side action that goes on. But like you said, move of the championship for Yarshel. That was one of the best moves I've seen for a race win in my entire sim racing commentating career. That was absolutely brilliant. And we said that he was gifted the positions. Well, you have to make your own luck in these sorts of races. He was in the right place at the right time, and the execution was absolutely perfect from Yarshel.
Yeah, it was incredible there. As you can see the podium on your screens, Tim Yarshel in P1, Emre Cihan in P2, and Jack Keithley is in P3. And here are your official race results then. Tim Yarshel, 4th different winner from 4 races. That I love to hear that. He is indeed going to get the 25 points. Emre Cihan is on 18 points. Jack Keithley is on 15. 12 then for Moritz Lerner. We've then got Jonas Vanna on 10. Erhan Yuyovsky is on 8.6 points for Adam Pinches. Martin Stefanko is on 4. 2 for Florian Hasser. Leonard Krippner is on 1 point then for finishing in the top 10. Superb stuff. Tim Yarshel, for me, driver of the race number 2. Emre Cihan, driver of the day. It's been a sensational performance from both of them there, Connery. But again, you've got yourselves, like, Moritz Lerner, Jack Keithley, who were at the top of the championship. They will be at the top of the championship at the end of today. Even when they have bad races, they still finish in that top 5.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you're Lona, for example, of course, I picked him to win this race. Unfortunately, that didn't come to fruition, even though he had a couple of chances there at the very front of the field. Unfortunately, he just overstepped the mark a little bit and lost a couple of those positions, the exact same positions that Yarshel gained to get up into the race lead. I think if you're Lona, though, you're still coming away from this race with a smile on your face. You're still very much inside the championship contention right now, and he's like I said, he's going to be happy, but he's also maybe going to look back at this race at the end of the season, especially if the points gap is so small, and say, well, that was one opportunity that I kind of threw away.
Yeah, I agree with you there. I think it might be a race that they look back on and think, oh, maybe I could have got a little bit more from that. But I think the biggest factor is that we've had 4 different winners. But now we are going to go and head over to Thomas, who is now with one of our drivers.
Welcome, Jack Keithley. Oh,
hello.
You don't look very satisfied.
I'm just exhausted. I'm satisfied though with I think unofficially I'm leading the championship, so I'm happy with that.
That's okay. Help me a little bit. What was the result of race number 1?
Race 1, I was second.
Second.
But, yeah. Well, to be fair, both races, I didn't drive my best races. I was pedaling that baby as fast as possible, but I wasn't perfect today. So I'm just happy to come out of this meeting with some very good points.
All right. So I'm happy with you. Tell me a little bit about Moritz. Moritz hold up the pressure high. So was it difficult to defend, or do you think Moritz wasn't on his best level as well?
No, I think in both races, Moritz drove a little bit better. I just got a little bit lucky with, just some things that happened at the start of race 1. I went for a good move. In race 2, there was a big battle ahead, and I managed to sneak up the inside of him. And I knew going into this race, if I could come out beating Moritz, then that's very good for me in the championship, and that's what I've come out with. So it was pretty intense, I tell you. He's a fast cat, Moritz.
Yeah, it was intense to watch. I mean, just the situation in race number 2 where everything got so dense. Yeah, pretty exciting to see. Thank you, Jack Keithley. We will see where you're in the championship soon, and then we will head back to our commentators.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Hope everyone enjoyed the show.
Really nice to see there. Jack is just happy with his race weekend. He didn't get a race victory today. I keep saying weekend because we're so used to racing being on the weekend, but it is Tuesday evening. But yeah, he didn't actually get a race victory here today, which says to me that coming into this, he didn't feel overly confident. But again, he was talking, the main point there was that if he could beat Moritz today, then he had a really good shot of being the leader of the championship coming out of today. And well, he's gone and done that very, very well today. But I just think how happy he was. Like, in sim racing, you see people just like, oh God, there's always something more I could have got. but he seemed genuinely happy with his performance today.
I think it's just his persona in general. He seems quite happy-go-lucky as far as drivers go in that interview, and you can kind of see why he leads the championship by 2 points there after this round at Zolder. So it's still a very, very tight margin for error between the two of them. I don't think that's the last we're going to see of Keithley versus Lona battles as far as this season is concerned. But look at what the second race win for, the first race win of the season, but second today, of course, in the two races that we've had. Tim Yarshall up into third place now in points. So he's looking pretty good and gets some crucial points for Team Sheldon in that battle with Scherer.
Absolutely. Could not agree with you more there. But it will be Jack Keithley then, not only doing exceptionally well on the racetrack today, but also doing the mathematics. He knew he was leading the championship. 2 points then, the advantage after race number 2 here today. 73 then for him. Maurice Lerner is in second with 71 points. Tim Yarshall then up to third spot. And he's not really had a huge standout result up until he won that race number 4. So, yeah, he's been going under the radar very much so. 52 points then for him. Emre Chihan, he was on 1 point coming in today. He scored a big 50 points. So great performance by him for Team Glock as well. For Team Bortolotti. Erhan Yayovsky, he was comfortably in third in the championship before today. Now he's down into 5th spot. Martin Stefanko and Rudinger are still very close with each other. 26 points, place 22. Jonas Vanner is on 18. 12 each then for Lucas Muller, Florian Hasser. Then we've got Adam Pinches, who's on 6 points. 2 then for Leonard Kipner. Then our final point scorers are Michael Stephen and Attila Dinier. Connery, Jack Keithley, not again. He was said, I think if I've done my maths correctly, like he's just been at the top level of racing against the very best in the world right now. And yet you're still trying to do mathematics in your head while you're going. Just a different type of alien there.
I mean, it reminds me of Lando Norris mentioning on his stream once where his physio or his driver coach or whatever was throwing maths problems at him while he was trying to race. I guess that's maybe what Keithley has been doing behind the scenes. I don't know. But yeah, still, a very solid performance for Jack in this one. And like I said, though, the championship is so tight and both those drivers have such similar pace week to week that it's impossible for me to decide at the moment who's going to come home at the top of the standings. And I wouldn't mind if it was either one of those two. They're just great lads.
Yeah, but don't write off Yarshall. Do not write off Emre Chihan. They're only 22 and 23 points behind now in the championship. So again, if they can both get victories and finish in second next week, maybe we're going to see a 4-way battle for this championship.
Yeah, potentially. And, the more drivers involved in the championship fight, the better as far as I'm concerned, because it just goes to show how competitive this series is and how competitive sim racing as a whole is, with everyone just so close.
Absolutely. Well, now we're going to head back over to Thomas, who is with our best start driver of the day.
And with another DTM driver. I guess I'm doing a little echo, right? I'm not quite sure. I'm here with Fabio. Basically, I can wave because he's standing right in front of me. Fabio, tough race, but you finished.
Yeah, actually, first time I finished. It's really difficult because I hadn't time to practice, and initially it wasn't planned that I can do the race. So last second chance I got to do it, but the thing was, due to that I hadn't any practice, so it was really difficult. But I think it was clear improvement there, and I got closer and closer, and I hope that the next round will be better.
So next lap we don't know. So basically you can really say if you like the track. Did you like Zolder?
Actually, I haven't been there in real life. But on the simulator, it looks quite cool, and I'm really looking forward as well to the real race weekend at the weekend. So let's go for it.
I'm quite curious if this session helped you for next Saturday when you're then live at Zolder. We will see, and I probably will message you. I will. I'm very curious. We have one other interview, but yeah, shortly back to our commentators.
So Fabio there mentioning that he hasn't been to Zolder before. Well, he's got plenty of time to learn the circuit because he's there for 2 weeks in a row coming up. So that's this weekend and the following weekend. So again, He's just there he's saying that it's a really cool track to be on a simulator. And the tracks are now so similar to what they are in real life, Connery. So he would have got a really good bit of experience there for the weekend.
Yeah, well, for DTM at least, they returned to Zolder last year, I believe it was, 2019, after a 17-year absence at the track. So I think they probably need to get as much practice as is feasibly possible to prepare themselves for the races coming up. But yeah, it's it's a brilliant thing that real life drivers can actually use the sims, the consumer sims as well, to try and prepare themselves for the races they have coming up. It's always been fascinating to me.
Absolutely. Well, he's not had the greatest of sim racing championships so far for himself personally, but his team have been absolutely phenomenal. Waiting for confirmation as to what the team standings are. But yeah, Fabio's team's been incredible. But let's talk a little bit more about our race winner there from race number 4. One that we didn't predict, Tim Yarshall, managing to get the dub. That move, Connery, that move is just unbelievable.
Look, someone should clip that with software of their choice and just post it everywhere to get everyone's eyes on it, because that was an absolutely stellar move there, and it was it required a huge amount of confidence as well, because you're just slinging it to complete that move around the outside at turn 1, where you can just so easily push wide and out into the dirt and then have an even bigger incident. So that was just pitch perfect.
Absolutely. Well, let's go back with Thomas for another interview.
Hello, Beitske. We finally made it to the last interview. First race, DTM Esports for you. I see you're quite well equipped, so that was obviously not your first esports race.
No, I've done a bit of esports since Corona started. But yeah, it was my first time joining the DTM race.
So how did the car feel for you?
I enjoyed it. Not easy. The car is quite tricky to drive around this track, but yeah, it was definitely fun.
All right. What was your goal?
Well, I knew like the real sim races were a bit too fast, but I just wanted to have a good race with the other real races and try to get as close to the sim races as we could.
You're smiling, so I guess you had a good race.
Yeah, I think I can be happy with it.
Nice. So thank you, Beitske. I hope we can see you more often in the series.
Yeah, I hope so. Thank you.
Bye.
So it's great to hear there from Beitske. I had the pleasure of commentating on her winning the W Series Esports League earlier in the summer. And well, it's been a great couple of races here today, Connery. Of course, it's your first time with us. And I don't know what you were expecting coming into the DTM Esports Championship, but what have your thoughts been about today?
I mean, as far as the top tier of esports racing is concerned, I think the championship here today really did deliver. There was absolutely amazing action. The storylines just continue to develop here in this series, and I can't wait to see what the next couple of rounds have to offer, because if it's anything like we saw here today, then I'm certainly going to be signing up for more of these.
Absolutely. We've still got, again, 2 more races to come for you in a couple of weeks' time. And then we've got the super finale, the final of all finals, which is going to be super, super exciting, which, again, we don't know what the track is. Neither do the drivers. And you know, how much of an effect is that going to have on these drivers, Connery? You know, do they go out now and practice every potential circuit that's on the DTM calendar? Or are they just going to just wait?
Yeah, that might be the plan. To be honest, you've got to cast your net wide, so to speak, as far as the tracks are concerned. But we could be blindsided by a completely different track, something that's maybe not on the DTM calendar, for example. So they don't know. We don't know that either. We can't hint towards which track it's going to be. So I just think that a lot of drivers are going to be hoping and praying for a safe track for them, so one that they know, so that they can get this sort of middle part of the championship under their belts.
What an awesome day it's been. Now let's check out the highlights of the day.